WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. I'm WNST and Baltimore Positive. I've worn the old sweatshirt, which I don't do very often. It's a little chilly this morning here. Bill Cole joins us in lieu of the Cole Roofing mug, which I will have next week because it's at the bottom of a box with a bunch of crepe paper in there. Blame the Von Paris people. They moved me 6 weeks ago, and everything's still in boxes. But I will have my Cole Roofing mug back out. As I apologize getting stuck on my Royal Farms coffee. Bill, what's going on, man? It's been a little while since we sort of hung out, and I'm thinking about sports, and I'm thinking about the war, and I'm thinking about business, and I'm thinking about masks and COVID and all of that. Like the thing I want to talk to you about right now is something that'll really piss you off, aside from all of that, baseball. And the fact that this time of year, guys like you and me be down in Sarasota, like watching a game, right? And baseball's so insignificant in my life, and I used to be a sports radio station, as you well know. That's when you found me. It really does sort of pass time that I'm now 53, and there are seasons in life for not everything goes with you all of your life. You don't take it all. I took my Led Zeppelin belt buckle, and I'm adding to my collection, but there are certain things that you just change, things that used to be important aren't anymore. And certainly for this community, and I guess this is where I welcome the whole thing in, it's shameful, it's criminal, it's sad. It's really, really sad what's happened around baseball and what's happened around downtown, especially now that I've left downtown.
Yeah, I mean, I think that people are looking to the places where people are leaning in, not the people or businesses who are building more barriers or being neglectful or not appreciating their customer, or you just don't have any time for that.
This is not a time to not appreciate your customer.
Yeah, I mean, things have just been so hard for so long that you're just really looking for, oh, look at this, they changed that and it makes it easier. Hey, good for them. We love those guys.
You know what I've noticed, Bill? Living out in the county now, right? Every time I go to a restaurant, and I'll talk about this with Mike Rosenfeld, and this will be a great topic for him. Every time I think about ordering food, and I'll give a couple of free plugs. Island Cuisine, great Jamaican food down in Loch Raven. McFall's Iron Horse Tavern, where I once had Justin Tucker and Joe Flacco and Dennis Pitt and all that. I went to all their websites in the last couple of weeks. Just, hey, what do they have? Maybe it was 75 degrees and let's go sit outside somewhere under a deck or whatever. Websites and order online and DoorDash. I've never DoorDashed. I've never Uber ate. I'm the guy that drives and goes and puts a mask on and gets it. I tell my wise friends I don't order online. I go and touch the strawberries when I get them. But the evolution of business in touching a customer, where I never trusted a website to order Chinese food online, give them my credit card, thinking it was actually going to be there. In the old days, when you ordered a pizza online, it never came. I didn't know what they were doing.
100% more effective, right? Like just a more effective way to order things or to understand things. So even though, and this doesn't, you don't have to do this much, but like the idea of getting reservations on the web, like going and then them have actually gotten the reservation when you show up
or when you click on Ekabin and you say, I want the broccoli. And they're like, dude, it's going to be 45 minutes. We're a little slammed here. Pick it up at 6:43. And at 6:44, if you show up, it's probably going to be there. It's going to be hot because if you showed up at 6:21, like in the old days, you'd be sitting there 20 minutes pissed and you'd be like, where's my food? And they'd be like, we're underwater. And I think good Americans, good people left in our culture understand that there hasn't been a restaurant I've been in. There really hasn't been where I haven't thought they're probably a little short-staffed in the front, in the back, in the middle, out in front, in the bathrooms. Like I've given leniency even on if your bathroom's not the cleanest. Like things that 2 years ago I didn't have that. Although I do want your bathroom clean.
So when does that patience run out, right? Because I understand, immediately where we just want to get back out and eat. So you'll put
And we're
up with
paying
pretty much
more, so it better be perfect,
right.
right?
You'll put up with pretty much anything at that point, right? And at some point that wears out, and the people who have taken steps to make their operation more efficient, or have increased their pay or their benefits, or they've gone and thought outside the box of where to find good people, they will rise to the top because we will begin to hold them to a higher standard. Like, it's an interesting dynamic, right? If you're paying $5 a gallon for gas,
It's not better
and the
gas.
and the food bill, right, is twice as much, like, supply and demand curve says you're going to do that less. And when you do it, sure, I might not be upset if I go somewhere and it's not like what I think is a decent experience, but I won't be back, right? I'll go searching for the next
I went
place.
to a place that's very close to, up in the county. I went last year. I paid too much. I got too little. It was good. It was really good. It was really nice. It was
Right,
elegant. It was all
right,
that. It just
right,
wasn't something I would do again.
right. And that's the hard part for them. I get it.
Because I
But
paid $180 for food on that particular night that I could have bought for 48 and had 3 days of leftovers. And like literally with the same people and a bottle of wine that I enjoyed, I just eating out. There is and I remember talking to you and others last year about that when the plague ended the first time, and we were all like, "Hey, let's go out, let's go do something." When you spend that money, and I guess I want to bring it back to baseball because I
that's where I
really
was,
did.
yeah,
No,
I
I,
was
I
just
really
going there. No,
no,
no, no.
in the last 2 years,
Imagine.
I'd like to say, what have you learned? Because this is the 2-year anniversary of the plague, right? This week, right?
Right,
We're on it, right? It's
right.
St. Patrick's Day. How have you made yourself better? How have you made your business better? How have you made your life better? How have you taken away problems, created thing, whatever that is? I'm really proud 2 years later. I've got a whole new, I'm
Yeah,
wearing the old shirt to go with the new thing, but doing
yeah.
the crab cake tour and giving out lottery tickets. By the way, Betty Boop will be at the El Guapo on Thursday, giving away some Betty Boop. If you want to win, by the way, you like basketball in March, man. This will be at Costas next Friday, the 18th, from 2 until 5, watching some hoops. There's a rumor that Marianne Scully's stopping by that day, that she's available all of a sudden. So we'll be giving some Betty Boops away as well. But for the Orioles, and I say for
So
Major League Baseball, 2 years into the plague, what have they
right,
done? They bitched all the way to getting to the field to open baseball without open stadia. They opened a new ballpark in Texas, welcomed everybody in the middle of a plague. They had teams shut down. They've shut down a half of their minor leagues, like completely tourniqueting baseball in all sorts of small American communities, right?
right.
And then the Orioles, lost 100 games again last year. Like, I'm trying to figure out what they've done to better their business, and now they're shutting the door on fans.
So
It's like the worst American business I can think of, Major
right,
League Baseball, because they've drank off the titty of this cable television for so
right.
long, just stealing money, and now they've got to go out and like earn it, and they don't know how. TJ Brightman wouldn't know how to earn a fan. It's incredible. It really is.
So we'll bring it back to the restaurant analogy that we're using. So log on to the Oriole Eatery website, and you're going to pay twice as much for no product with no expected delivery time, and they're expecting you to buy multiple opportunities of that at one time. So the prospect of buying a season ticket to a team that is delivering substandard food
Might
for
might
overpriced,
deliver.
right, for overpriced at a time and a place that we have yet to determine. Yeah. So I'm with you. I don't I think you hit it right on the head, is this idea that when you didn't have to compete for revenue, you build a business that doesn't know how to compete for revenue. And then all of a sudden, when that switch flips, you're looking around and you're like, hey,
Oh,
where,
Greg Bader treating the guy who has a sports radio station like garbage. That was good business for 20
where
years.
are all my hunters? Right. Where are all
Where's
my
Greg
hunters?
Bader to help sell tickets at this point? Where's Greg Bader to go get Crown Gasoline back on, and Mariner Bank back. Oh, those businesses that are gone that they
Right.
never drank from. Provident Bank, go get them back on again. Like, I don't know where the business model is for baseball at this point, but I do know this: as I wear my sports shirt, I am glad I'm not in the let's wait for box scores, and I hope Buck talks to me, and I hope the old man shows up this year and I get a Jim Palmer bobblehead. Like, and I'm not the only pissed off one anymore. I was the first pissed off one. Billy, it's going to be hard for you to believe it. It's been 16 years since I walked out on them. 16
Right.
years.
Yeah, that makes me feel pretty old.
16 years.
Yeah, right.
And it's been mostly awful, other than a Delman Young double and a couple of games where Buck Showalter came in and didn't put Zach Britton in. I mean, I don't know how they're going to pick that up, and they think they're just going to put the car back out on the highway whenever and drive it. It wasn't a very good car here to begin with, and
Yeah,
I'm really concerned. I mean, I'm concerned
I'm with
about.
you. I don't
It's
know
a
that
really
it's
important generator for our community. It really is.
is it? I mean, it hasn't been for 15 years, to your point, right? Like, it should be a generator, but it hasn't been. And 5,000 to 3,000 to 7,500 fans a game for a decade. Like, I don't know. I just, it's just such a non-event for me and a non-story. Like, things that are curious to me is like, you have Seattle trades their franchise quarterback that they appear to love, right? And Green Bay apparently is going to significantly overpay the guy that they want, and that's their love of their life. And I just don't like, to me, that is an interesting place where the two teams go in
Well, they're
different
trying to
directions,
win,
right?
right? At
Who?
least we know that they're really trying to win. Both of those franchises are trying to win.
I actually think Green Bay believes that their fan base will love them more by keeping Aaron Rodgers but not winning. And Seattle wants to win and doesn't really care who it's with. And that's why they did it. That's my opinion. Like, I don't think you can win if you pay your quarterback 200 million. There's not enough shuckles left to go around. He can't throw it, catch it, block, and run. So I think it's really hard. I think you have that short window, right, before you have to really pay the quarterback to win the Super Bowl. I mean, it's been done, but I don't know. That's my take.
The
I find
Aaron
that more
Rodgers thing's
interesting than
fascinating
Orioles.
because he's clearly not a normal cat.
Yeah, he's a
You know what I mean?
goofball.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah,
goofball. And I don't know. And Russell Wilson's like the exact opposite of that on the
right.
leadership guy, always saying and doing sort of the right thing or whatever. But most people think you can't just win with him in Denver, right? Like that he's not a franchise quarter, that he's a system. You have to have other players around him.
I
Lamar's that guy.
guess.
Lamar, hey, Lamar's watching, right? And all the histrionics about Aaron Rodgers, and Lamar clearly is not very sophisticated because he didn't even have an agent. So I don't even know. We don't even know where he's getting his advice. But I'll say this: the Lamar thing. We saw what Lamar is with no players around him last year, right? So
Yeah.
how valuable these guys are. Yeah, Joe was really valuable until you took Matt Burke, Anquan Bolden, Ray Rice punches his wife, and then all of a sudden, yeah, Joe's a nice quarterback and all that, but somebody's got to block, somebody's got to catch, somebody's got to run, somebody's got to play
Right.
defense to get him
And
the ball
once you
back.
paid
So
him,
yeah, it's
right.
difficult.
Once you paid him, you can't pay to field the rest of the team.
You know what
Yeah.
you should do? You should do what Mr. Kraft did, which is make a personal services contract for a little later on down the line. I saw Putin do this. Putin gave me that recommendation when I gave him the ring, that this is the way we circumvent. I mean, the salary cap, that's for losers. I mean,
Right.
paying
How
attention
about
to the rules. We
how
put
about a
monkeys
car
and trees
dealership?
with, yeah,
Right.
like, there's no doubt that the Brady Kraft thing, that whatever went on there, they were cheaters from the beginning, that's one way to circumvent it. Now, the legal way to circumvent it, maybe this takes us a little bit back to the baseball money argument, is that, baseball's getting all this revenue in different ways, right? the Cubs have parking decks and gambling decks, and we won't even get into Calvin Ridley betting on games in the NFL because I could sit here and do sports all week, Bill. I really could. I just
I
couldn't
don't.
do rah 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 shish boom ba. Let's go to the Oriole game,
I
but I
think
could do
it's.
sports all week.
I think it's funny that people are like, "God, Ridley betting on." Oh my gosh! Like, wait, nobody thought about that when the DraftKings has a billboard in every single stadium and people were gambling on the game the entire time. Like nobody thought that this was going to be a problem. And they didn't talk to Calvin Ridley. I mean, like, remember, this is the guy who left the team in the middle of the season, for undisclosed emotional, whatever, personal reasons. Like, was that the part where he was so far in debt to the bookies? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a bunch of weird stuff. I'm sure there's a book that'll eventually come out, but it is weird.
Well,
And
I
the
mean,
fact that
the notion that we're gambling on the games now has a whole different level of responsibility than what they're prepared for. That
sure,
really, I mean, it was like Putin going into the Ukraine. He thought he had a plan until they started shooting back. That wasn't part of the plan. They were just
right,
going to roll over. You know what I mean? Once they start shooting, Mike Tyson, we all have a plan until we get punched, right?
So Calvin Ridley's the only football player in the NFL
Ever,
who's betting
whoever
on
will, whoever
who's
will.
betting on football, right? The
Right,
only guy,
exactly.
the only guy.
Bill Cole is here. He is Cole
Hey, I
Roofing and
got it
Gordian Energy.
hot off the press, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was up late last night because I got to drive an hour to Henry Wise High School in Prince George's County,
Is that like
one of
Wise
the
Markets or that's WISE?
WISE, one of
So
the
Wise Avenue. Okay.
beautiful new schools that they've built in the last couple of years. It's not old.
Got a
It's,
solar roof like the one behind you or no?
no, I don't think no, I don't think so. But I watched the Class 1A boys semifinal basketball game last night with Patterson Mill High School, which is
That's
my
Harford County.
right, my
I
cousin's
drove
son.
by there and I'm like, where the hell is
Yeah,
Patterson Mill? It's in Abingdon?
yeah. So
That's crazy.
my cousin's son plays on that team.
Are they
He's a
the fighting?
senior.
What are they? The Patterson Mill fighting
Huskies,
the Huskies. Okay. All right. Not
and
to
they
be
play
confused with the Bel Air Bobcats or, I covered Harford County
Boston
back before
Cougars.
the
Right,
Boston, right?
lots of
CM Wright, the Mustangs.
Mustangs. Yeah, good. Okay.
See,
How
you didn't
about
think I knew CM Wright.
Hartford Tech? Do you know that one?
No.
Or North Hartford?
North Hartford were the Hawks.
Yeah, good. Very nice. Very nice. Havity Grace. How about Havity Grace? Havity
Havre de
Grace.
Grace, Eagles.
I I think it's Warriors, but I
Warriors.
can't
Well,
swear to
but
that.
maybe they might change that because Warriors no good anymore, right?
Mhm. Who else are we missing?
Edgewood. We get an Edgewood in there.
Yes, Edgewood.
Eagles. It's an E. Maybe, I don't know.
No,
Somebody's gonna shoot
no.
me on that because I got Edgewood alums that are out there.
Right.
Anyway, so Patterson Mill, you're playing ball. Go ahead. The Mighty Huskies.
Playing against Edmondson. The game prior to that, the other 1A semifinal was Lake Clifton playing Cambridge. Clifton won. I didn't see any of that, but it was a very tough game. Edmondson won at the end. It was very close, back and forth. It was so much fun. People don't have any idea that in most of their communities throughout the winter, there is like fun high school basketball. I mean, last
Dundalk
week,
played Mervo 2 Friday nights ago. I didn't go. It was kind of cold out, and I wish it was on my timeline to get down to Dundalk at 5:30 for the games. And yeah,
last week we
Towson had a run here too. College hoops.
last week we watched Falston girls play and beat Hartford Tech to win the Hartford County something. I just don't think people realize. I mean, yeah, it cost us $10 and we had to drive an hour into Prince George's County, but
I told
man,
Luke,
this
go watch
gym-
Gilman play. They're, go watch Moeller's grandkid play.
Ness, if you went in this gym, I'm telling you, I took my son, he goes to Loyola, right? And Loyola College. I think the gym at Wise High School is maybe 100 seats smaller than the beautiful gym on the campus of Loyola College. Like this gym, Ness, was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Has to seat 5,000 people, 10,000 people. I don't know. I'm probably bad at guessing that, but it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was, I just, that's my little local plug, right? Like,
Yeah, hey
there's a
man, I
lot
went down
of
to see
really
my
good
team
stuff.
play for the
Yeah.
state championship down in Annapolis, and seeing old friends wearing my Dundalk jacket from
Yep.
1985. I mean, yeah, I mean, to our point, how much our life. I'm not even bitching about Peter Angelos or looking for John or calling him or saying when are you moving the team or when are you showing up or how can I get some McCartney seats for less than $540 a piece or I'm not doing any of that. I'm over it. I mean,
Yeah.
they're a public disgrace that it earns whatever they earn in their own place, not just in Baltimore, not just for old line Oriole fans or people that prefer lacrosse or have walked away. But I'm just like on a universal level that Major League Baseball is doing this and pulling this stunt in the middle of a war, in the middle of a plague, coming out of all of this. A pox on all their houses, but I don't really know what it means for the community or the future of it because I've been holding my eyes, holding my ears, holding my nose, opening my mouth about this for 3 decades. And it kind of fell on deaf ears, and now it's so deaf that like people don't, they're on strike and nobody cares. I mean, like
Right.
literally,
Right.
there's nobody like I gotta get to opening day. Nobody in my world anyway.
No. So, if you want to go find a high school basketball game tonight,
Okay,
the girls 2A semifinals,
are you
which
on Gary
includes,
Adornato's site by the way? Is that possible?
no, I'm
Oh,
on
okay.
MPSSAA.
Oh, you're on the legit. Okay, gotcha.
It is terrible though, finding all this information. Somebody needs to clean that mess up. Uh,
Baltimore Banner. I don't think they're doing sports, but that's yeah.
let's see. So the 2As play at Richard Montgomery High School in Montgomery County. That's where our local Fallston girls are playing against Williamsport. Number 3 Hereford playing number 7 Gwynn Park. You got Paint Branch High School, which I believe is also
Paint
Montgomery
Branch is
County.
PG or Montgomery, one of those. Yeah.
Well, nothing's PG. You have to call Prince
Yeah,
George's.
I know.
Okay.
I've been warned about that.
Yep. The 3As
That's only if I
play
want to run
there.
for governor or have a crab cake down there again.
3A girls, Poly versus C. Milton Wright, Howard versus Rockville. 2A boys play at Montgomery Blair High School, which these are neutral sites. They just are neutrally all located in Prince George's or Montgomery County.
Well, they convinced somebody that's the middle of the state.
Look, 2A boys, Wacomico coming up from the shore, playing Frederick Douglass of Prince George's County, and Westlake playing Overly.
Overly. Wow.
Right,
Go
right. That's a
Falcons.
semifinal. They win this game, they're playing at Comcast or Xfinity Center on Friday or Saturday.
That would be a fun little skill set to see if we put all the Baltimore media together who Keith Mills would win, but would
Yeah.
be able to name every single high school mascot.
Mascot. Yeah.
Because I'm lost. Anything that was invented after like 1990, 91, all your Patterson Mills, all those Howard County schools that I've never heard of, that are,
Yeah.
west of Glenelg for crying out loud. I don't know any of those schools, but I did have the
Nope.
Glenelg Gladiators back in the day. And
Right.
I covered Howard, Centennial, Wild Lake, the original schools back when Doug Duval was winning state championship.
I want to finish because I won't leave anybody out. 4A boys play at Henry Wise tonight, which was a beautiful gym. It'll be great. Winston Churchill, which I
Man, you're
think
making me look this place up because it says Wise.
is so beautiful.
Wise? What is it called? Wise?
Henry A.
I got Wise
Wise,
Market, Wise Avenue, Wise Penny,
Henry A.
Wise.
Wise, WISE High School.
Upper Marlboro.
Yeah.
I ain't never been there.
Winston
Going to Upper
Churchill
Marlboro.
plays Meade.
Okay.
And then at North Point High School, which I guess is the closest one to those living in Baltimore. I guess that's the North Point, right? North Point High School?
No, I've never heard of a North Point High School.
Yeah, right. That's what I was going to say.
North Point High School is in Waldorf for crying out loud.
Oh, okay.
You ever been to Waldorf? I've been through there, right on the 301, baby.
Sure. I was in Upper Marlboro last night. Parkville is.
I know where that is.
Eleanor Roosevelt, Eleanor Roosevelt is definitely Montgomery County. And that's the 4A games. So I don't know, man. If you're looking for something to do, like I
Eleanor
said, we had a
Roosevelt
blast.
it's in Greenbelt. How can it be in Montgomery
Okay,
County?
Prince George's then. Prince George's. I get
All
them
right.
too. I get confused.
Well, I mean, if you're trying to give, I'm Googling all of this to try to figure out where these new places are.
Yeah.
Well, to your point, you don't need the Orioles. There you go.
Right.
Well, I mean, look, there's lacrosse games, there's baseball, there's softball, there's golf, there's take a
Sure.
walk in the woods. There's a million
I mean,
things to
these
do out there.
kids, these kids are one game away, right, from getting to play for a state title at the Xfinity Center. And, one of them loses. And when they lose, they are crushed.
No doubt.
Like you think about being a high school senior and this is your chance, right? Like you've taken 3 years of abuse and you finally guys got your stuff together and here you go and you're one game away. Yeah, I mean it's
Well,
the
it's even more so
pinnacle
now
of
because the last 2 years have been really
stuff.
crappy. If
Absolutely.
you had a crappy
Yeah.
freshman and sophomore year and you're a junior, or
Even
crappy
this
sophomore,
year, right?
yeah.
Even this year in late December, January, there were no fans, games got canceled, teams got pushed around. You know what I mean? Like
It
it's
hasn't been a
been
whole lot of fun being on a sports team the last couple of years. Not as much fun as
right.
it should be.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Wearing
crazy.
masks while you're dribbling. Bill Cole is here. He is he's pimping away for high school sports. Who knew? I was on here talking about how much sports means to us. Local business and roofing. Give me a little update on the solar world and the roofing world and the do you have materials world?
Yeah, it's still we thought it was going to get better. Everyone was saying it was going to get better. We haven't seen it. Some things have started to flow, but not so much. All of our products are petroleum based. So the last 2 weeks have been an interesting roller
Can
coaster.
I ask
And
you this? Is there anything that you've ever put on that said made in Russia, made in Ukraine, made in Moldova, or is most of your stuff made in America, made in China, made in Taiwan? I'm trying to figure out if Russia makes anything that we consume other than vodka and other than maybe gas I put in my tank. But it's kind of blasphemy to me to think we were ever buying oil from Russia. Like that's just so effed up that it makes me want to use the real F word.
yeah,
Because like the fact that this ever happened over the last 25 years that we had a president blessing a KGB agent who was always
well,
set on murdering people and always was murdering people and never hid that he was murdering people and was no friend to this country in any way other than coming into our world via troll farms to poison people and tell them that they need guns and freedom more than maybe they need guns and freedom.
right. But, and I'm trying to look it up so I don't get this wrong. Like, whatever you want to say about their leader, there's 144 million Russians who are decent human beings, maybe some percentage of that, right? Not all are decent human beings. And the world is a global economy. So it doesn't shock me at all that everything is interwoven. It's no different than the statement like if China would have gone into Taiwan instead of Russia going into Ukraine, would you be making the same statement about I can't believe we bought all this crap from China when they're abusing Hong Kong and they have
They're
civil
killing the
liberties,
Uyghurs. Yeah, they're
right, all
yeah.
the stuff. Yeah, I mean, come on. So it is a interwoven global economy because it really is driven by people. And if there's people in Russia who are making something and somebody else wants to buy it, then we've built a world where that can happen. So it doesn't, I mean, now we're going to debate whether we buy stuff from Russia. That's the comical part. The comical part is the delusion and the trying to find a way to be okay with it because you don't like the consequences. You don't get to have a say on the consequences. The guy unprovoked went in and invaded another country and is killing anyone that gets in the way of a missile or a bomb or a bullet, right? So you don't get to say.
And this is the first time in our lifetime we've seen something like this certainly in social media. I
Well,
mean, Tiananmen
yeah,
Square. We've
no.
seen
Think
they went
of
in. They went into
think of
Crimea.
Iraq, think of Kuwait, think of Gulf War. I mean, I sat in front of CNN and watched, right? We watched that happen. So that was
It's
really
still
the
being
first.
filtered by CNN.
Yeah, yeah. And it
This
was
is too
far right.
graphic to show you. It's murder.
Yeah,
Well, it's war. So it's
right.
all too graphic to show you, really. Really.
But the difference in that was nobody gave a crap about Iraq, right? Iraq goes and kills Kuwait.
Oh, now
We
you're bringing up
need
race. These are white people.
we
They
need
are.
Kuwait. We need Kuwait to have a place to park our boats so that we can protect that part of the
Dude,
world
there's
and that
nothing
water.
different about the people with my skin color hanging out down in Tijuana and hanging out down in Rio Grande, trying to get across the border. They're being executed and mutilated and murdered, and their babies are being raped. All of that's going on in Honduras and Nicaragua and El Salvador, right? Like, and Mexico. So all of that's going on, and these people are coming here, and we're saying we're pro-life in Texas, but we're just not pro-life at the border because you people are brown and you speaky funny. It is there is a part of this for the media and for our country is that these are blonde-haired, blue-eyed, beautiful people being murdered as opposed to dark-skinned, beautiful people in Iraq or Mexico or Latin
Oh,
America or the Igers or
oh, I
whatever's
don't
going
think
on.
that's
This is happening with tanks and bombs from the air as a show of aggression, thinking that 40 million people are going to capitulate, and clearly they're not. They're not.
yeah, I don't think that's where I was going with it. What I think the comment I was trying to make was when Iraq invaded Kuwait, we very quickly mobilized and went in and
Well, they have oil there.
well that is we just needed a seaport right there, and
Mm-hmm.
Kuwait was where we needed to park our boats. So and we were not afraid of Iraq, right? Like it didn't matter. And you make up the story that they want to make up about one country unprovokingly invading another country. They're like, oh, we'll go defend for them. And it's the same thing now. The difference is that the guy's got intercontinental ballistic nuclear missiles, right? So now everybody's playing
And
this
always
chess game.
has. And always
Right.
has.
Now everybody's playing this
And you
chess
always
game.
knew he was going to do this, and there had to be a plan for this, other than the plan of the other president, which was I'll look the other way and I'll shake down the leader for my own political benefit so I can be here and you can just walk in and rape and pillage and have at it.
I, I
That
don't
went on
know.
for 4 years. That
You
did go
know,
on for 4 years.
I love you. You love to take everything to Trump. I don't give a crap about Trump right now. He is not making any decisions, right? And
But
I'm not.
decisions that were made have allowed this to some degree, to a large degree, quite frankly, aiding and abetting him. Um,
Uh, the dude has been in control of Russia for 30 years, 20 years. I mean, well before Trump and obviously after Trump. I don't think
But
it's
nobody's rubbed up against him in this country. Nobody's really rubbed up against him
which is
because they know
which
what he's about.
okay, I hear you. But Putin didn't do this for the 4 years that Trump was in office. Is that a coincidence? Like, why is that? Why do you think that is? It was more lucrative for him to
Well,
just
Syria was getting annihilated, and again, they weren't white people. You know what I mean? Syria got taken out during Trump's. I don't see it. Have at it. So, country to country, war to war, culture to culture, race to race. It, there's never been any question about what Putin's been about, right? Like there really hasn't been any question as to whether he kills people, he's a KGB agent, he wants to take over the world, he's going to threaten nukes whenever that comes. So we always knew that was going to be there. We
I
always
don't
knew whenever that
I
moment
agree.
came, he was going to
Right.
say, I have finger on red button.
I agree. I don't have
You
any
always knew
issue.
that.
I just think uh the more we continue to talk about Trump, the more power we give him. And regardless of what policies he may or may not have, and things that I might agree with or things that make me disgusted, we need to make him irrelevant. I don't see any positive, right, by him being in the national conversation And the more
He's
people
in the national
continue
conversation
to
because
like,
75 million people voted for him and think he's a good guy and think he's the honest one. That's
I know,
the amazing part.
but
The amazing part is
okay,
that it has credibility even though it shouldn't.
right.
That's
But
been the
how do
magic trick
we
the last 6 years.
best get rid of that? When you argue against him and you're
He's a criminal,
passionately,
so you put him in jail. Let's start
hold
with
on,
that. I mean, you
you
start with what happened January 6th in our country,
is
in
that going
our
to happen?
capital.
Is it going to happen? Is he going to go to jail?
Probably not, I guess, because
Okay,
we're a
so
corrupt
let's come up with,
country. You
okay,
know, I
so
mean,
let's,
if we were a legitimate country, he'd
okay,
be under a jail.
so let's go
You led
find
an
another plan.
insurrection on the government, and
So let's,
there's text everywhere. There's evidence. There's a phone call with him trying to get the Georgia election thrown, and you can't put him in. It's amazing. He's his own gangster. Yeah, we have
right.
our own gangster
So,
here, literally,
so
right?
find another plan, right? Like I said, there are things that he agrees with that I agree with, but his MO, his way of going about things, I believe is bad for our country, right?
There's no doubt about it. It never was
Okay.
good.
So
From the
there's a
minute he got
common,
on stage and started insulting the women,
so there's a common ground for us, right?
but that was popular.
But my
Grabbing him by the
issue,
pussy was big, dude.
I
Really big.
know,
It won an election.
but every time people come out passionately like disgusted by him, it invigorates and entrenches
But knowing
the
he's on the
people
side
on
of the
his
guy doing the
side.
murdering over in the Ukraine, and
I
the
don't
reason the
why
gas is $5 a gallon, the gas price is there are just so many Americans tied to whatever the gas price is the popularity of the president, and that's insane. But
oh, it's not just the gas price, it's everyone's wallet. If when you go to election day, if you got more money in your wallet than you did 4 years before, the guy that's in stays in. If you got less money, the guy that's in goes. That's how they vote. And whatever that is. All I'm getting at is I really think the tactic should be ignore him. Ignore him. Stop talking about him. The dude is irrelevant, right? No rational, like intelligent person creating strategic decisions and planning for this country seriously engage with him and say, hey, man, what do you think about this? Nobody's asking that question because they know there's nothing there. And the more people just poke that fire, I think all you're doing is continuing to create a bigger monster. I just ignore it. I pretend like he doesn't exist.
Bill Cole is
He just
here. He's
doesn't
Cole
exist.
Roofing and Gordian Energy. He will get on your roof and fix it and repair it and make it like new again. Show you some ways to make a few shekels as well on your
I don't know
roofing thing.
we were talking about roofing, and then I don't know how we even
Well, we
spiraled
got
on
into
that one.
world. Does Russia make roof things? I don't know. I mean,
Oh,
it
there you
seemed to
go.
me,
Yes.
yeah,
So the
Russia
answer
might make
is
a tar for a roof that I don't
no,
know
right.
about, because
No,
it's petroleum based.
the majority of, well, yes. So we are, the roofing industry, just like all the other ones, are not clean. Like a lot of our crude comes from Venezuela. So,
My people, that's my people.
right. But, we're paying for crude that's going directly to line the government of their, the corrupt government. So,
The one that's intimidating and threatening my family. That one. Yeah,
yeah,
that one.
one.
Yeah, that
Right.
one. Yeah.
So, most of our stuff, we get natural resources and inputs from around the globe, but most of our stuff gets put together here. Right.
So when Venezuela invades Colombia, Venezuelans aren't bad people. Let's just.
If Venezuela invades Colombia, does the world even talk about it? Like, what is the angle there?
I don't know.
Right.
I
The
hope that doesn't
cocaine
happen.
dealers are pissed off because they can't get their product. Like I don't know.
Hey, Colombia cut down on that.
Okay. They have great coffee. So all the coffee. So Starbucks.
I don't know anybody that uses cocaine anymore.
That just means you're old.
All right, dude. We'll cut it off at this. Anything you want to say about the
You
Ravens
probably
or
should
free
have
agency
stopped
or
like 10 minutes ago.
anything you're happy about or no?
Yeah, I'm happy every day that people trust us to fix their roofs, that they want to understand solar and they call us, and you and I get to sit here in the safety of our places
With high-speed
and
Wi-Fi.
Right.
this
Talk
week.
about how screwed up the universe is, and we don't have RPGs flying over our heads. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm
Right.
grateful for
I'm
all
going to
that
be
stuff.
eating delicious crab balls and crab cakes and nachos at El Guapo on Thursday, giving away Betty
And
Boop tickets, but also understanding that, we got it good here in America right now, right?
no doubt. No doubt.
Here's Bill Cole. He will not be going to baseball games with me this year, but we may take in a high school basketball game or a lacrosse game or something fun before it's all, maybe a high school baseball game over at Dundalk High, home of the 83 state champions. I am Nestor. We are WNST. We call these things wise conversations, and our friends at Wise Markets all month long rounding up. Make sure you check that out as well. I am Nestor. Find me, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat. Argue with me. It's fun to do. We are BaltimorePositive.com.